Coming up on Fulton Today, officials determine how to best deal with the homeless problem after getting an accurate count of those living on the street. We'll explain.
Fulton's elections director takes part in a panel discussion addressing election security. I'm Brian Robinson, and I'll share how those concerns were addressed.
And these seniors learn about the services they can access to help them raise their grandchildren. That and much more starts right now on Fulton Today. Welcome to Fulton Today, everybody. The push is on to get as many Fulton County residents familiar with the state's new voting machines. The latest show and tell came during a town hall meeting where residents also addressed their concerns about voting security. FGTV's Brian Robinson joins us now with more on this story. Brian?
Shawnee, Fulton's elections team hopes to ease those security concerns by addressing a number of myths. The Benson Center dining hall quickly filled with residents eager to learn how the state's new voting machines operate. How are you? As soon as doors opened, Fulton's voter education and outreach team were fielding questions and giving demonstrations.
It was amazing. People came in from all over the place. They wanted to know all kinds of things, and we were ready for them because we think we're getting ready for a really good election. People were really interested in the paper ballot component. I think that's something we haven't had before because they were used to coming in, sticking their card in, and going right back out the door, but now they have a paper ballot component. And a lot of people had questions about that, but that was something that a lot of people wanted to have a paper component to go along with the electronic part of the situation.
The focus then shifted to a town hall panel discussion hosted by radio station WABE 90.1.
The touchscreen technology is the same that we have on our phones, so you don't have to.
The panel featuring Fulton's Director of Registration and Elections, Georgia State University political science professor Jennifer McCoy, and AJC reporter Mark Nisi discussed a number of security topics and answered audience-submitted questions. Questions that range from how confident voters should be that their vote will be counted correctly to cybersecurity.
I think it shows that there's a lot of interest and a lot of passion in the new voting systems, and obviously 2020 is a big year for elections, not only across the country, but of course here in Georgia too. So I think there's a lot of interest in seeing how this new equipment is going to work, if it's going to be safe and secure, and so I think it was a good turnout, and I appreciate everybody's interest in being here.
We got a lot of good questions from the moderator, and hopefully people will walk away being happy that they came and that they got some information.
This 2020 presidential election marks the first time since 2002 that Georgia voters will cast their vote on a new system. Though there are still some security concerns, Fulton leaders are excited to have the new machines.
I just think that it's exciting to have this new system. For a long time, it's been a challenge in a recount to make sure that the results actually were what the voters cast. I think having a ballot that you can verify your choices will give people a comfort level, and I think it's a really big improvement on the old system.
And whether these voters like the machines or not, they were pleased to have their concerns addressed.
I'm really glad the meeting happened. I've been going to Board of Registration and Elections meetings every month as often as I can when I don't have work. And so I've been listening to some of the concerns of citizens, and I've also just been keeping abreast of some of the preparations that have been going on, but I still hadn't had hands-on with the machine. So I was really glad to have that opportunity today.
6 pilot Georgia counties used the new machines last November. The rest of the state, including Fulton County, will get a turn next month during the presidential primary. Now, there are no plans for additional town hall meetings, but you can expect to see the new voting machines in a precinct near you as Fulton's voter education and outreach team continues to receive requests for demonstrations all across the county. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Brian Robinson.
All right, thank you very much, Brian. Meanwhile, North Fulton is also where Fulton's Census team shared the latest news about the upcoming count. The county's Intergovernmental Affairs Division Manager and representatives from the U.S. Census Bureau presented a 2020 census briefing meeting at the Alpharetta Library. The meeting was hosted by Congresswoman Lucy McBath on behalf of local elected officials in North Fulton.
A complete count dictates the federal funding guidelines for each and every state and for each and every locality within the state. And so it's very important that we make sure that the entire demographic of our district is counted because, one, being the United States representative, we have the ability of the purse string. And so to be able to create the funding for education, for city resources, for all of our municipalities, that's based upon having a 100% complete count of every person, every individual in our district. So making sure that no part of the district is underserved for the count is extremely critical.
Now, much of the discussion centered around the best practices and outreach strategies for complete count efforts. The group also learned more about the financial benefits of a complete count and the thousands of census jobs that are available. Now, once again, the 2020 census starts April 1st. For the first time ever, census participation will be available online as well as the traditional way. Now, coming up later in the show, you'll hear why Fulton commissioners explain why census participation from all county residents is critical for county services and programs. Fulton County takes part in another nationwide count. This one helps determine just how many people are experiencing homelessness. FGTV's Regina Waller joins us now to explain how this count can help those citizens find the shelter they need.
Shania, we're here at the East Point City Annex where more than 36 volunteers have come together to make sure the homeless are counted. Not only to make sure that they are counted, but to provide them with the resources that they need that you see behind me.
If that's the choice of the team, as long as you guys stick together.
Inside the East Point City Annex and inside the North Fulton Community Charities office, both groups had one common goal: to head out into the night in near-freezing temperatures to conduct the annual point-in-time count. The teams of people included commissioners, residents, and representatives from nonprofit organizations. The mission was simple: to determine the number of homeless people within Fulton County.
This is the one time in the year where we actually focus in on the least of these, the left out, the lost. Our homeless brothers and sisters are in need of representation. We want to make sure that they're covered, and to make sure someone is covered, you have to acknowledge their existence, where they are, and what situation they're in.
Before the count began, the volunteers were provided with items like care packages, blankets, and food packages to offer those living on the streets. The count was more accurate than ever thanks to new technology.
We have a new app that we're using for the first time. We automated the accounting thing. It's called Counting Us app. And what happened is everybody gets to put this app on their cell phone, and we can actually do on-time, real-time counting of the homeless personnel that's out there. So, and it actually gets fed back to our command center, and so we get to capture some real good data.
That will prepare us and position us for future grant funding opportunities so that we are better equipped to assist the individuals within our community that are experiencing homelessness.
The point-in-time count tracks families, single women with children, youth, and single men. According to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, in 2018, there were 314 homeless persons for every 100,000 residents in Fulton County. Executing the count in the middle of winter is by design.
The time frame for the point-in-time count is not dictated by Fulton County. It's dictated by HUD. The count has to take place the last 2 weeks in January, and the idea is if you can find a person on a night where it is cold or inclement weather, that person is truly homeless and that person truly needs services.
The final results of the point-in-time count will be used to determine the amount of federal funding to support the development of programs. These services provide aid to the homeless and to those at risk of becoming homeless throughout Fulton County. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Regina Waller.
Thank you very much, Regina. The Government Center atrium will soon have a new look. The atrium improvements and modifications project is now underway. This project involves the removal of the water fountain and waterfall in the center of the atrium, as well as the reconstruction of the Government Center entry to the pedestrian bridge.
We'll be making the atrium much more functional, much more efficient, and much more enjoyable for our citizens, our visitors, and our employees. But it will come with some disruption that is natural to the construction process. And we ask for your patience and understanding during this period of time, which will hopefully bring us a much more enjoyable atrium in years to come.
During construction of the pedestrian bridge that connects the Government Center and the Justice Center, the security checkpoint will be relocated to the Justice Center side. All construction will take place during the overnight hours and on weekends. Temporary fencing and scaffolding have been erected to prevent harm to visitors and employees. Precautions have also been taken to minimize disruption, mitigate dust and poor air quality, and keep the atrium clean. This whole project is expected to be completed by late summer. The staff at the Fulton County Jail is now just a little bit larger. The applause was well-deserved for these former cadets, now detention officers, who've completed their first basic jail certification class of the year.
This class graduation, we had 10 detention officers, but we had other deputy sheriffs in the class that are now jail certified, which means now they can work in the jail with less supervision, and it really helps us with staffing.
Basic jail certification training is a 2-week, 80-hour program. Now, during that time, the cadets were taught self-defense tactics as well as emergency procedures, inmate rights and inmate discipline. They also learned medical activities like first aid, CPR, cell searches, and inmate supervision. Sheriff's Office representatives say that kind of training is necessary to keep the staff and the inmates safe.
The last few weeks, it was pretty much just basic jail cert. We learned defensive tactics, we learned policy, all the whole nine, like pretty much how you should act as an officer. It's pretty much protocol.
Despite the arrival of these detention officers, the Sheriff's Office is still looking to add more. You can apply by logging on to fultonsheriff.org. The next training class begins March 23rd. Welcome aboard. And still to come, Fulton commissioners make a plea for every resident to participate in the census. We'll explain in our district-by-district coverage next. Fulton commissioners make a personal census plea to encourage residents to get counted, and some take that same message straight to the church. Here's this week's district-by-district coverage. We begin with the county's big census campaign to encourage residents to participate in the process. The county's Complete Count Committee has called on the Board of Commissioners to take part in public service announcements to challenge citizens to get counted.
I'm Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts. As you often hear me say, Fulton County is a big deal. And as the state's largest county serving 1 million+ citizens, we also have a big voice, and it needs to be heard well beyond our boundaries.
Hi, I'm Fulton County District 3 Commissioner Lee Morris. Every 10 years, the country pauses to be counted as part of the U.S. Census. The number of people counted by the census helps to determine federal resources allocated to public safety, libraries, schools, and any service that receives government funding.
District 6 Commissioner Joe Karn also took part in the public service announcement. He and Commissioner Natalie Hall also partnered with the Reverend Timothy McDonald and the Atlanta NAACP chapter to host a strategic census planning meeting. The gathering of community and church leaders was held at the First Iconian Baptist Church in southeast Atlanta.
We need to be counted for Census 2020 because this is federal dollars at stake. This money comes from the federal government down into our state and into our counties and our cities. And these funds can be used not only to do affordable housing, it can be used for jobs, it can be used for social and human services, and we need these things in Fulton County.
This is a big deal for us because we have a persistent undercount in some of our communities. We're getting out enough awareness this year. We're getting the word out on radio, newsprint, to make sure that everybody understands this money and this funding that goes in your community can only go in if you fill out that form and make sure that you and your family are counted.
Now, the 2020 census will be the country's 24th census. Once again, The official day for the count is April 1st. Get details on Fulton's efforts by visiting the county's website. And when Fulton Today returns, we'll explain why Fulton's health team is urging everyone to get their flu shot as we enter the middle of winter. An update now on the flu virus and a reminder that it's still not too late to get that flu vaccine. As of mid-January, the Department of Public Health confirmed 31 flu-related deaths, including 5 in 1 week throughout Georgia for the 2019-2020 flu season. Now, they say the flu activity level is high all throughout the state and is expected to continue at elevated levels for several more weeks. Fulton officials are reminding residents that its Board of Health facilities have flu vaccine in stock.
Our influenza rates are much higher this year than average, and although they've come down a little bit, they're still very high, much above average. We've had 37 deaths in the state of Georgia, and we are still in the middle of flu season. So it is not too late for people to get their flu shot.
Now, to get details on where and when you can get the flu vaccine at one of the county's health centers, visit the Fulton County Board of Health's website. A few weeks ago, we shared with you that Fulton's Board of Health team is playing a vital role in one of the biggest sporting events to call Fulton County home this year. We're talking again about the NCAA Final Four. Well, this room of communications professionals and public information officers from all over the region, they are working on the media relations and crisis emergency communications plan for that big day. The main mission? How to get critical information to the target audience during a public health emergency.
Yes, we're hosting a media training to prepare not only for the Final Four, but just for media events in general. Oftentimes, people may be in front of the camera and they don't really know how to present or what to say or how to say it. So we wanted to help them to sharpen their skills. And for those who are familiar with the media, who often have media training, we just wanted to enhance those skills.
I, too, enjoyed speaking to the group, and the group will meet several more times before the 2020 NCAA Final Four games begin, which is on April 4th. Fulton County seniors 60 years of age and older who are taking care of a child full-time because their parents are unable to, well, now there is help for them. FGTV's Melissa Lewis has more on the Kinship Care program.
In a comfortable setting inside the Fulton County Juvenile Courthouse sat a number of seniors who are not just grandparents, but active parents once again. They are among the rising number of older Americans who are raising their grandchildren with little to no help from the parents.
I'm a struggling grandparent raising my grandson, and I'm trying to get help with the facilities of the school. The athletics program is so expensive. $145 we have to pay for basketball, $80 we have to pay for football fees, and tutoring, they really need tutoring assistance on their science and math is expensive.
It's for reasons just like that Fulton County created the Kinship Care program, a resource to put grandparents together with providers who can offer a myriad of services that the caregivers desperately need. On this day at the focus group session, the grandparents got a chance to tell program organizers what they really need.
They need housing, subsidized housing, because one thing we as grandparents do, when we get a call from DFACS or anyone that our grandkids are in crises, the first thing we think about is rescue. We don't think about the long term of how this is going to impact our lives. But it does become impactful, especially when you don't have any financial support, and then later on it becomes a problem with support, period.
These quarterly sessions not only give the grandparents a chance to share their needs, it also gives them an ear from others who know exactly what they're going through. While the state has its Kinship Navigator program, this session is a part of the county's program and is made possible thanks to partnerships and thanks to top county leadership.
And it really is true to the nature of the way Fulton County is going. We're expanding services, we're partnering, and we're being able to leverage more dollars out into the community and serve everyone by partnering and not being so siloed anymore. And I think this is a great direction that the county manager has made for us.
To get information about the Kinship Care program, contact the program coordinator in the Senior Services Department. Reporting for FGTV, I'm Melissa Lewis.
Thank you very much. And still to come, 2 county libraries receive a very distinguished honor. We'll explain. Well, the Fulton County Library System is leading the way in going green. Staff at the East Point and Fairburn libraries were ecstatic to learn their respective libraries were awarded with the Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design, or the LEED, or Gold certification, by the U.S. Green Building Council.
The factors that obtain the status of LEED Gold certification is when you have a design and construction team and a program management team working together with the stakeholders, with the county, the end users, and the community to build and design high-performance green features into libraries, like incorporating LED lighting or daylighting and views, and energy-efficient appliances and construction means and methods and practices.
Now, LEED certification is a green building certification system that verifies that a building or community was built and designed to save energy, increase water efficiency, and reduce CO2 emissions, just to name a few. The East Point and the Fairburn libraries are the 4th and 5th county libraries to achieve LEED Gold certification status. Way to go. And finally, this last story is for all of you lovebirds wanting to get hitched on Valentine's Day. If you are looking to tie the knot on or around the day of love, keep in mind you will need a marriage certificate. And thankfully, Fulton County Probate Court staff has made the process to obtain one as smooth as Cupid's arrow shooting. I did not write that, people. You can apply for a marriage license at one of Probate Court's 3 locations Monday through Friday between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. You can go to the Probate Court's main office inside the Justice Center in downtown Atlanta, the North Service Center on Roswell Road, or the South Service Center in College Park. Before you arrive, be aware there's some things you need to bring with you.
In Fulton County, the items needed would be your state-issued ID. That can be a Georgia ID, a state-issued ID, or passport, driver license, or birth certificate. You do not have to be a Fulton County resident. You can just be a resident of any state, and you just come into the court, probate court, to apply for the marriage license, just as long as you have your state-issued ID to apply.
After the marriage ceremony is performed, the officiant must complete the marriage license. The license should be returned to the probate court no later than 30 days after the ceremony. In this case, that will be right around St. Patrick's Day. And by all means, please, please, please share those pictures with us online. And before we go, our reminder that we do want to connect with you online. Be sure to follow FGTV on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for up-to-date Fulton County news. You can also watch a replay of this show or any other FGTV program anytime on our YouTube channel, so do us a favor and please subscribe. Well, that does it for this edition of Fulton Today. Thank you so much for watching. Join us each week for news around and about Fulton County.